Hi, if anybody is there. If you're there, give me a second here. I'm getting everything in place. I gotta figure out how to find my live. I know I did it the last time. I just can't remember how I found it on my computer. So apologies for the silence here right off the beginning. My computer is very, very quiet. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, so here we go. Okay, just give me 2 seconds here to get things, trying to line them up. Hopefully you can't see that. Is anybody watching yet? No? Okay, well, we'll give everybody a second to tune in. Oh, hi, Renee. I have all of my devices going here. Were you here last week, Renee? I'll give it a second. Oh, no worries, Renee. You can always go back and watch the other ones. Okay, well, we won't wait too long. Hopefully we get a few people tuning in. And we made the envelope. It's not glued, so I hope nobody glued it. We made the cover for the notebook. And today we'll work on what we're going to do on the other side. I apologize for my voice. I tend to lose it all the time. So this is what I did with one of the past ones, is I made a shaker. I did this one for me. I don't know what others will want to do, because I thought these might get tossed in purses and bags and everything else, so I didn't want there to be too much catchy stuff. I don't put mine in bags or anything, so we'll see what people want. Let me know, and if you want to do a shaker as well. But here is the inside. Okay. Again, I'm not too sure about the envelope on this cover. I did it just to simplify decorating. When you open it up, it's kind of, I used, this has a plastic cover. Hi, Sharon. Wet South Florida. Well, welcome to really cold, well, maybe not so cold today, Saskatchewan, Canada. We've been in the minus 25 to 30 below, but we're warming up today. Today's only minus 5. Anyway, as I was saying, this one has a plastic cover, so it's a little stronger. But this envelope, because it's right from top to bottom, I don't know if you guys want to do an envelope like this or just decorate. So you'll have to let me know kind of what you want to do. If you want to do an envelope like this, we can certainly do it. If not, we'll just decorate the cover, put another pocket in there. Okay, so, and then this is where, okay, this envelope is going to go here, just like this. So here you've got this envelope. you open that up and you have a couple of pockets here, and then you've got a tuck spot here. So a tuck spot and a pocket are different only because a tuck spot, you just glue the pattern paper on 3 sides. Whereas the pocket, I've constructed the pocket out of the cardstock as well. Okay, so you've got your pockets here, then you open it up, and with the pin in there, it gets kind of chunky. Open it up and you've got a tuck spot on the other side and a pocket in the middle. So there's lots of room to store, you know, like whatever you want to store in there, whether it's stamps, if you're going to use it as you can use this as an address book, like there's lots of paper, or for anything really. And I made it kind of refillable so that you can add another book later if you use it all. So I guess let's get to it. Let me put my pen away and we will get making. Don't forget to let me know whether you want to do a shaker cover or not. Bring back in. Okay, so we're going to just set our envelope to the side for a minute, okay? And we'll construct the other parts because they're easier. Yes, this is warped a little bit. It does that with the liquid glue. I got a little carried away with the liquid glue. Okay, so we're going to get to the inside. We'll decorate this later once we figure out what paper we're going to use. Do you guys all know what paper you're going to use? So, actually we need this because we need to measure. So, we kind of want, so 6, because you don't want anything to be too tight. So depending on, and again, I am measuring and saying measurements out loud, but your measurements are all going to be used. So make sure you watch the first video. Nice, good for you. I look forward to sharing to seeing. I hope everybody is a member of my Facebook group, Be Crafty with Tamara, because I'm excited to see what everybody is doing with their books and papers and collections that they're using. So as I was saying, your measurements are going to be based on your book, okay? So you want to stay about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch away from the other side. Okay, so as you can see, hopefully you can see, I'm staying a little bit away. So I'm going to need a piece that is, and then you're going to measure to what you want. So from where I want it, okay? So let me just show you. It's kind of hard to do this because we're going to put a gusset in here. So this piece has 1/8 of an inch gusset, and the piece that we're going to cut for our envelope is going to have 1/4 of an inch gusset, and I've scored mine every 1/8 of an inch in there so that it lays flatter. Okay, so it's going to lay on top so that you have room to put things. Okay, so like I said, okay, so I've got excuse me, 6.5. So I'm going to add 1/8, so that's 6 7/8. So another half on top of that, okay, is 7 5/8, I believe. So that's what my piece is going to be. So you want to add a half plus another 1/8 to your measurement for your flat piece here. Okay, I'll show you once I get cutting. I hope I'm not confusing you all. Okay, so we'll move my book and I'll bring in my heavy duty cutter. Oh, I should move my mouse too so that I don't accidentally click like I did the last time. Get it totally out of my way. There. Okay, so, and height, I gotta figure out where my height is, sorry. And the height that I want it is on the black. So whatever your inside black piece here, so mine is 9. I tend to remember better if I say it out loud. Okay, so you're going to put your paper in here. So now I said 6.5, right? No, 6 3/4, right? So let's do it so that you guys can remember better. So add a half, which is 7. I guess I shouldn't be saying measurements out loud. Mine is 7 1/4, and then another 1/8, which is your tick in between the 1/4 and a half. Okay, and then cut. Okay, so again, mine is by 9. Okay, so your height is here. Okay, so now I'm gonna score. Okay, so you're gonna wanna score the shorter side, okay? Whatever your measurements are, you wanna score the shorter side at a half, and then 1 more 1/8 past that. Okay, so it's a half and then 5/8. Okay, set that off to the side. Now you don't have to put these in either, unless you're like me and you get confused, because sometimes I have been known to put things in upside down or decorate them upside down once I've had them in, or if I decorate them on the outside. Okay, so then I'm going to put tape, and I'm putting tape first before I do my tapering. Tape on the bumpy side, or dented side, sorry. Okay, no wonder I can never find it. I throw it away. So then, burnish. And then I'm just going to taper my corners. Okay. And I'm going to fold and burnish, and I apologize. You guys are going to hate me for that 1/8 of an inch gusset because it's a pain in the butt. So you score the whichever one you can get, and then you just pinch the other one. Okay, once you get it started, you just kind of work it and then give it a burnish. Okay, just like that. And it's going to go on this side, okay? So this is the side. You want to have your flap on the left-hand side, okay? So now we're going to take and we're going to put our pockets on there. Okay, so again, mine is 3 3/4, okay? So whatever yours is, a wide, okay? Take away 1/8 of an inch, okay? So now I'm gonna have 6 5/8, okay? So take away 1/8 of an inch, and then you don't have too much bulk on your edges, okay? So I'm taking away 1/8 of an inch, okay? So mine is 6 5/8, and then add an inch, so it's 7 5/8. So yours will be what yours will be. Okay, so then again, bring in a piece of cardstock and your trimmer. Okay, and trim. Mine, I'm using 8.5 by 11. So if you're going to use 8.5 by 11, you can do it the same way I'm going to do it. So 7 5/8 for mine. So whatever yours is here under 8.5. If it's more than 8.5, you have to use 12 by 12. Okay, so I've got 7 5/8. Okay, and cut. Now I'm going to move my trimmer for a second, because this is how I cheat when I do a stack pocket. You can, and don't throw away your pieces. Okay, so now let's bring back in our scoring tool. Skinnier side, the shorter side, you want that at the top. Okay, I'm going to score at a half. Okay, turn it clockwise. Score it at a half. Okay, clockwise. Oh, I didn't get that one very well. I'm going to cut it off anyway, but that's not the point. Turn it clockwise again and score the other side at a half. Okay, Now move your scoring tool. Bring back in your cutting tool. Okay, now, first of all, I want to measure and see how high I want my pocket. So I'm thinking if I do 3.5, now this is how I do it, so don't laugh at me. That might be too high, so I'm going to go 3.25. 3, just a minute. If I go at 3 and 3, yes, so 3. So, okay, so because I want my pocket to be 3 inches, the first cut, okay, so I want to put the score line on the right hand side, and I'm going to cut that at 3.5 because we have the 1/2 inch here for the pocket, and we want our pocket to be 3 inches. Okay, cut. Okay, so that's your bottom pocket. Okay, so now you take the other piece and you put it back in again at 3.5 and cut. Okay, so this gives you the stack pocket for the top of this, this piece. I didn't label them or number them. This piece we're going to take and we're going to put back in the scoring tool, and this is going to be the pocket on the inside. Okay, so you put that back in there, and then you score it at, score it at 1/2 inch. Okay, so that gives you the pocket that goes on the very inside. So that's everything out of one piece of paper, and you're not scrapping too much of it. Okay, so let's this piece. Okay, so I'll show you what we're going to do with this piece here in a second. I'm going to tape up my bottom pocket. How's everybody doing so far? Have I lost you? Who is all tuning in? Give me so I can say hello. Shoot me a comment so I can say hello. I hate doing videos, Renee, because, and I hope I'm saying your name right, because I hate my voice and I always think that I'm explaining things wrong or confusing people. So that's why I'm always, you know, bear with me. I've been told to shut up. I'm very easy to understand, but I hate doing it myself. Okay, so bring in, so there's your pocket, okay? Here's your stacked pocket, okay? So take your ruler, okay? Lay it down and measure 1/2 inch, okay? 1/2 inch. And what I do, so that you don't have to do any erasing, is I just put a line just on the where you're going to put your tape, okay? Because that's all you really need it for, okay? If you can see that, hopefully you can, okay? Then I'm going to put my tape on there. Okay, tape on the bigger half. And you don't have to put tape all the way because you're going to cut that off. So if you don't want to waste your tape, I know it's not saving much, but you know, it saves a little. Okay. Give that tape a burnish. We're not very chatty today. Okay, now you're going to take, and where that line is, you're going to cut just to the score line. Okay? Then on a little bit of an angle, just taper, you're going to cut from the bottom up to that little line there. I want to cut past it because then it makes for, okay, so there you can see what we've done. Okay, it's the same thing on the other side. Cut just to, whoops, just to the score line. Okay, and then cut on your little angle there. Just taper that just to your other cut line, and that pops right off just like that. I'm sure you guys have probably done this before, but sometimes there are beginners who don't know, and then you can fold and burnish. Okay, fold and burnish. Whoops. Okay, your other pocket, you're going to take and you're going to miter all the way through, right through that intersecting score line, right through the X, cutting it on an angle, like so. Okay. Fold and burnish. Okay, so bring back in that first piece that we did with your gusset there, your 1/4 inch gusset. Okay, if you want to fold it over so that you don't see anything, so you just have the flat, okay, doesn't really much matter, because now we're going to take our pocket, make sure that your flap is on the left, okay, and then we're going to, and I apologize if my head gets in the way. My paper is, I'm using, I don't know about you guys, but I'm using Michael's 65-pound paper. And when I fold, it doesn't exactly, I always get up at the top there, I always get a little bit of crooked fold. I think it is how. So I'm just going to work. Like, that's all I'm doing here, is I'm working that kind of over. Hopefully it's enough. Not really, but that's okay. It's just a tuck pocket. Okay, so you're gonna right over to the right hand edge, the cut edge, not your scored edge, not your folded edge. Okay, and I take the bottom off first, because I'm going to show you a trick for when you make pockets, if none of you know. I wish I could remember who the first person I saw do this. Okay, open that up. Take a little bit of Scotch tape. And just kind of straddle that. Hi, Joanne. Joanne is close to me in Saskatchewan here. Joanne is my friend. Now I have proof that you're my friend, Joanne. Ha ha. She's my crafty friend. Okay, give that a burnish. I'm not, okay, so the reason I don't use Stampin' Up! Cardstock for the bases of anything that I do other than cards is, Sharon, because I find the Stampin' Up! Paper is, I think, 80-pound too, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a little thicker, and I find it to be very fibery. Now, if that confuses you, it breaks apart fairly easy. I did a folio, one of my first folios, I think it was the Be Beautiful Beginner folio I had done with Stampin' Up! Paper, and it's already kind of breaking apart. Like, the fibers are breaking apart. It's not ripping, it's just that the fibers are breaking apart. So it's kind of, I know it sounds funny, but fuzzy. And so with, and it used to be cheaper, but with the 65-pound weight from Michael's, I find that it stays together better. So I love my Stampin' Up! Paper, and I will continue to use my Stampin' Up! Paper. But for the bases of these, that's why I use the 65-pound from Michael's. Okay, so I'm just going to dry fit and make sure that everything is fitting properly, and it is. So that's all you do. And then you can peel your backing from these. If you can get the backing off. Okay, and then you just tuck that in there again. And as long as you have it straight from it corner to corner there, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so just like so. So there you have your pockets, okay? So now if you want to put this in, you can, but I'm going to leave it out until we decorate, which is right now, I think. Yeah, so we get to start decorating. I'm not going to decorate the front till the end because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. So we're going to decorate our panel pieces here, and then we can put it in the book. So I am going to use that same paper. So I'm using, I have a little bit of it yet. Don't laugh at me. When it's my favorite, I collect them. So this is the Snail Mail Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up. Okay, so here, if you want to, you can use one sheet and then just flip them, which I might do because I'm out of scraps. Or if you have scraps that fit, you can do whatever. So I'm just going to use my other one here as a guide, if I can find a place to put it. And then we'll do our envelope. Oh, and this other pocket goes in after as well. I'm a mess here, y'all. An absolute mess. Everything's open. Okay, so we're going to find our paper. Whichever one you want to use. Maybe I'll do the same, because I have lots of that one. Okay, so when you cut, my trick, so it is in 5/8, so I take off a quarter. Okay, so it'll be 6 3/8. I know, don't hate me with the 3/8 and 5/8 and 7/8. You get used to it come like after a while. Okay, so 6 3/8. So find room for everything over here. Bring in your cutter. Okay, cut 6 3/8. Okay. We're gonna need it again. Don't you worry. So the pocket is then 3, so 2 3/4. This is why I hate doing my matting on camera, because it takes me forever and I have to bring in my cutter, which is a big cutter because I like the clean cut. Okay, so what did I say? It was 2 3, so 3, so 2 3/4. Okay, and then your other one you can just cut in half so that it tucks in if you want, and then you're not wasting having paper that is a waste. So there's a rough half. Or do it like this, so that you're not cutting off anybody's eyes. Like that. And then I have his eyes up there, and I can use that for my top piece. This one is okay. Now, if any of you know me, you know I sponge everything. So this is gonna go, whoops, right here, like that. This one is gonna go under here, like that. And then your top one goes like that. Okay, so I'm gonna sponge. I always sponge all of my cardstock. It just takes that that edge off. And I know that Stampin' Up! Makes ink, but I've started using Tim Holtz or Ranger Distress ink, and this is Gathered Twig. Okay, on your bottom piece, you got to do all 4 sides. When I talked to my friend on the phone, she giggled because I was doing this one day, and she said it sounded like I was peeling carrots. Huh. Nope, sponging. I had to get a new sponge because it was starting to fall apart. So you can't really tell. It is just a little. I don't know if you can see that. Just a little bit to take the sharpness out of the cuts. Okay, so this one you only have to do the 2 sides and then the top, because the other is going to be tucked in the pocket. But if you don't want to sponge, you don't have to sponge, or you can sponge. There's red in here. You can use red, blue, whatever. Same thing here, just the 2 sides and the top. Okay, just like that. Okay, set that out of the way. Okay, and now I'm going to take, and you can use whatever liquid glue you want. I use liquid glue because it goes farther than tape. So you just put a little around the edge. Okay, and then just using your eyeball it. Stick her down. Okay, so now with your next piece, because you're tucking it, I just put a little bit of glue kind of where the pocket is going to be. Because once you tuck it in there, it's not going anywhere. And I don't want to have glue everywhere. Okay, so you just tuck that in, get it lined up, and see, this way you don't have glue everywhere. Hold it up, and again, eyeball kinda. With that first piece, you can get it lined up fairly well. Stick it down, and the same thing with the top piece. Okay. I may have to do this upside down or sideways. I tend to get glue all over. I am a mess. I don't know about you guys, but, and I apologize if you see my head. Okay, just wipe off your glue if you get it anywhere. It dries clear, so you're okay. Okay, so like that. Okay, now we'll put it in the book. Okay, so now you're going to open that gusset so that you can see that gusset. Okay, you want to see the gusset. You may have to give it a, oh, I should put my pin back in. I like my pin. It's got a bee on it too. I got tired of losing my pin and being afraid of stepping on it because I don't like that feeling. Okay, you got your tapered corners. Okay, and this is going to go, you want to get it just close to that that edge, that space there between your chipboard pieces. You want to get it as close to that as you can, just kind of touching it without going over. Okay, and then start peeling your tape. That's how I do it. Okay, so that gusset is fully where it's supposed to be and straight. I just kind of push it up, and then I just sort of work it over so that it stays straight. Because with the gusset, it may pop up and you get a crooked piece and then it won't fold right. Okay, so there you have your pocket. Okay. There's your pockets. Okay. Now you're going to laugh. Now we're going to still leave this pocket aside. Okay, we're going to bring in our envelope pocket. Okay. Let me close this up for a second. I tend to leave it open for days, so I'll close it now for a couple minutes. Okay, so I got to figure out which size envelope I cut here because we're going to do a trick. This is what I have found. I don't know if you guys all know the trick when you're making, have any of you used the envelope punch board? Let's start with that. Have any of you used the envelope punch board? Nobody wants to say yes. Have you ever matted an envelope? Me too, it's my favorite, Joanne. Have any of you matted an envelope? No, 6 by 8, I believe, is the one I used. Because, well, you might start matting. Here, let me find. I'll show you just a second. Here's one that I did just to have. Okay, see how it's matted quite nicely? The edges all are matted quite nicely. See, your edges are all, okay, we're going to do this together. If I have my piece, I should have wrote it on here and I feel bad. Actually, just a second, I'll figure it out yet. So I needed a piece that was 11 and a half. I bet you 6. Yes, I bet you that's the one I did, 6 by 1.5. Okay, so my piece of cardstock was 11 and a half by 11 and a half square. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of cardstock or a piece of pattern paper to 11 1/4 square. Okay, so pick your pattern paper. Which one did I use? Oh, yes. Okay, so pick your pattern paper that is not too directional because it's going to be crooked, right? Because you're working everything on an angle. So pick your pattern paper that isn't too, this is the one I'm going to use, directional. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, Renee. I figured there had to be an easier way. What's that saying? A lazy man will always find the easier way. I'm a lazy woman. Okay, so cut to 11 1/4. Okay, 11 1/4 square. And I hope you're all watching before you do. 11 1/4 square. I keep everything. Okay, bring back in your punch board. Okay, and we to do the cardstock, you cut at 11 1/2 inch and you scored at 4 7/8. So we're cutting at 11 1/4, okay? And I'm going to come in another 1/8, so 4 3/4. And that's where I'm going to do my first punch. Okay? And then I'm going to score as far as I can without going past. And hopefully that will line up. Otherwise, I have to, no. So I hope you guys have the, I don't know if you all do, but I have the angled piece that goes with the Stampin' Up board. So if you don't, you may have to eyeball it. So my apologies. Okay, so I'm going to bring that in here. And then I'm just going to continue the score down. Okay. If you don't have this, I apologize, but I'm anal. See, I can admit it. And I can't see. I guess you could always make a pencil mark, because it'll still fold, okay? So you can make a pencil mark if you don't have that. Okay, punch again. Score. Okay. Line that up. This isn't necessarily going to be, it might be easier than fighting, but it isn't easy, because we got to measure and cut still our little pieces here, but it might be still a little easier than what it would be if you didn't have this trick. Hopefully you guys. Okay, line that up again. Score. Okay, so now we can move these out of the way. We're still going to have to punch because we want to get that corner. Now, what you can do, I hope you have a cutting surface. Okay, so these are your edges, right, for your pockets. Okay, so as you can see, it will line up. Oh, it's a little tight on the edge, so we may have had to, unless we start with this one. No, it's the same. So it's better than it was, because the worst is these corners. So if you don't want to do it this way and you have your own tricky technique, that's fine. But I'm going to keep going this way. So what I do is I line up with my cutter and I draw, well, take your pencil so that you can see it, because it is tough to see. And just line up your edge here and your edge here for your other flap. Whoopsie. Okay. Whoopsie. Okay. Now I'm going to cut. I'm going to measure 1/4 inch. Okay. 1/4 inch from that line. It might be a little bit big on one side. Okay, I'll show you. Cut. Okay. So now when you put this down on your envelope, okay, oh, perfect. It's pretty tight on the edges, and maybe if we cut the square at, I'm going to keep doing it this way because I don't want to wreck it and tell you guys to do something wrong. So I am okay with this measurement, if you guys are okay with that measurement. So we're going to do the same on all 4 sides. The pencil mark is okay because we're going to kind of cut that off and then we can erase it. So I'm just going to draw a pencil mark. Okay, so you're this edge and this edge here. Okay, so you just want to line that up and draw your pencil mark. I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm not sure what made me think of it, but I thought there had to be an easier way. And so far it's working for me. I've done a few envelopes this way. Okay, line that up. Okay, and we'll use this piece too. Okay, so now we will, okay, line up, cut 1/4 inch. Okay, cut at 1/4 inch. Okay, cut that piece off. Okay, around to the next one. Line your 1/4 of an inch, and that's why I love the clear ruler. Okay, line that up, cut 1/4 of an inch. Okay, 1/4 of an inch, cut. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my cutter. Okay, and we're going to cut. We're going to line up that edge. Okay, you're going to line up these edges. Okay, kind of where our pencil marks started. You're going to line up those edges. With your cutting surface, like with your, whether you have a guide or the pencil marks here are going to help, because once you make the first cut, oh, it's crooked. It's going to be a little tougher, or you can use your cutting knife and just cut along that edge. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? It's going to be, a lot of this is going to be hiding inside the pocket anyway. So if you want to use this for the back, you can use it for the back and put another piece on the inside. Oops. Okay, so technically this is all you have for scraps and the slivers that you cut off to get your 12 by 12 paper the right size. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. Okay, bring back in our pocket. Okay, so this piece will fit on the inside. See? Doesn't matter if it goes all the way to the bottom. Okay. And you see what I meant too by being crooked? Okay, so that will fit on the inside. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put on the inside. So I'm just going to sponge a little bit here that you'll see on the side, and then all along the longer edge. And then a little bit on the other side. Not a lot. Okay. Then glue. It's not going to go anywhere being inside the pocket like that, but okay. And then again, I apologize if my head is in the way, but I want to get my line. Okay, just like so. Burnish it down. Okay, so now we'll work on our sides. Okay, so I'm going to sponge. I'll have to open that up. Hi, Heidi. Heidi, I have to ask you, which you may or may not be, but are you Heidi in my in my Facebook group? Because if you are, I can't seem to tag you in the folio swap post. Okay, so I'm just sponging. I'm sponging on all three, so you're not going to see them all, but I'm sponging on all of the sides anyway. I can't seem to tag you, Heidi, and I have picked partners. You and Joanne, who are watching, are partners. If you guys have already contacted each other, then disregard my comments. If not, can you please somehow contact each other? That would be great. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm just sponging on all of my sides. Okay, I'm just going to do the two side pieces first. So I'm going to flip this over so that it's flat. Okay, one there, one there. Whoops. Okay, I always dry fit everything so that I kind of know where to line up. Okay, so this is where it's the side pieces that are the right kind of width, which is okay. Okay, so you see how that lines up? Okay, it is a little thicker here. So if you want to take off 1/8 of an inch instead of cutting it at 1/4, if you want to cut it at 1/8, it'll be a little bit less of a line. Okay, so I'm just going to glue. Okay, and if you guys are going to use a magnet to stick to hold your envelope closed, you want to make sure that you have your magnet before we do the top flap. Okay, so there's one side. Whoops. I'm getting quiet because I'm running out of things to say. You guys aren't asking me enough questions. Okay, line that up. Okay, stick her down, give it a burnish if you want. Okay, so now this and this, okay, so as you saw in my envelope here, can you guys all still hear me? Yes? I've got it flat, okay? I like that flat. I don't like that sticking out. So before we glue it down, okay, I keep forgetting to do this part. Okay. Okay, I'm going to bring in just something that I'm not using to right on there. And I'm going to score right across. So from where it meets here and meets here, I'm going to line that up, and my ruler up there, and I'm going to score across. Okay. Even if you use a pencil and then open it up and score on the table, just so that you don't put a mark on your cardstock here. Okay, so then just fold that over. Okay, give that a burnish. Okay, so now this is where I'm gonna put my, oh, I got that crooked, some kind of crooked, didn't I? That's okay, you can't tell, can you? Okay, so magnets. I've used up all of my big magnets, so now I just have the littler magnets, and they're not quite as strong, but that'll work. Okay, so a couple magnets. Okay, separate them if you can. Okay, open up your bottom flap. Okay, open it up, and I'm going to kind of use this. That is very crooked. I'm not sure how I got that so crooked, but that's okay. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of use some tape or a... Do any of you use Tyvek? How many of you are using Tyvek? Were you here last week to know what Tyvek is? I know there's a delay, so I'll give you a second. Renee is yes to Tyvek, and Joanna is yes to Tyvek. Perfect. Everybody uses Tyvek. Great. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to use a Tyvek patch that I have tucked away here. So I'm just going to cut a piece that I've already got taped. Okay. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to use a glue, piece of glue like this. And I'm just going to put glue there. I have black and white too, but I'm going to stick to the white because I like to color it. Okay, so I'm going to stick that down there. And yes, the glue is sticking out everywhere. But I'm going to use my Tyvek patch. Now, hopefully that is centered. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be hiding anyway. Okay, like that. So I'm going to stick a little glue on here. Okay. I hope you guys can still see me. I'm almost out of camera. Okay, I'm going to stick that down. Just kind of give that a second to hold. Try not to get so much glue. Then I'm going to use my patch. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of come over there, and that will keep that magnet in place like that. Okay, so now you can close up shop, or we can take our other piece here. If you want to get more, okay, see, I don't have very much here. I'm going to trim off a little bit so that I have a little bit more of a border. So I'm just eyeballing it here, y'all. I'm not taking off a whole bunch, but a little. Maybe crooked, hopefully not. Okay. So there's not a lot of scrap, but you can keep these if you want, because you just never know. I'm still going to need that again because I want to line that up. Okay, and then I want to draw a line with my pencil. Again, I'm just going to eyeball it and give myself that same little border. Okay, and then just cut that off. I'm just going to use my scissors. Okay, and then we can sponge and glue that one on. Yeah, I use pieces like that over Brad's as a patch on the inside on my open wide photofolio. I used it as a patch on the inside with the twisty page so that nothing hooked on the Brad. Okay, so just like that. Okay, dry fit. I always dry fit. Okay, and then glue. How many of you have undo? Undo is my favorite tool or supply. Okay, get that lined up. I know, undo is awesome. So none of you guys that are here today are beginners, are you? Are you folio makers or album makers, memory book makers, or just card makers? Okay, now, because that's our pocket, okay, so now we can glue this down, okay? So what I do is I just give a little scribble because I don't want it to ooze out too far on both sides. Okay, and then stick it down, and it will ooze a little. Okay, as long as it pops up like that, like this, you don't have any glue on the bottom. You see how it popped up? See? So you don't have any glue oozing out. So that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a good stick. Then I'm going to tuck my tip in if I need to, which I don't because it's stuck. I got it out far enough, or it oozed out. Okay, perfect. So otherwise I would just kind of stick the tip in there and get glue so that it stuck right down. Okay, so now this piece you want to put in back in here. Well, I do. You don't have to. And you're going to round it. Okay, and then do the same with your, okay, round it. Okay, again. Oh, am I moving too fast? I'm freezing. Okay, so this one is good. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to close that flap, take your other magnet and stick it down. Okay, so see where it is there? Okay, so just leave it like that. Okay, sponge. Oh yeah? I'm kind of in a smaller town and it's a little bit more difficult to find. I found 70%, but I haven't found 99%. Plus, I guess you could always refill the undo bottle. But the undo bottle has that little spatula thing, so I use that. Okay, so you got that. Okay, so now I dry fit again because, well, I like to have my angles quite right. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm 2.5 hours away from a Costco. So, and I don't get there very often anymore. So I'll just get undo. I know it's probably cheaper to use the alcohol, but undo works for me. Okay, so then you got to line that up. Get it as straight as you can. Okay, and then you're going to have to help the corner, like the edge here. No, I got it everywhere. I'm a little crooked on one side. But if you're happy, I'm happy. But this is kind of my little envelope matting hack. If you all want to use it, yay. If not, I am okay with that too. But I'm liking it because it makes things so much easier and you can still see your border. Okay, and you open it up and then you don't have to, like with your magnet being here, you don't have to mat, and so I'm not going to. You don't have to mat. You could put some decorations on there if you want to, but I'm going to just leave it the way it is. What do you think? Thumbs up for a good hack or not? Okay, so now we're going to cut a strip. Let's get rid of our envelope punch board. Okay, and you know how I said you wanted 1/4 of an inch gusset for this piece? Okay, so you're going to want to cut a strip this length by 1.25 inches. Okay, so you bring back in your cutter. And you can find, oh, might even have 1.25 inch strip. Not quite. Okay, so bring in a strip and cut it to 1 1/4 inches. Okay, 1 1/4 inches. Hopefully that's not crooked. I'm using scraps so that I don't have to use a new piece. And then I got to measure my envelope is 8 3/4 inches. Okay, so then you can cut this piece to 8 3/4 inches. Or, sorry, don't cut it to my measurements, you cut it to your measurements. Width, yes, you can cut it to that, but length, not, because it'll all matter on what size book you're using. Same with your envelope, that'll matter what size book you're using too. I keep talking like we all have the same measurements of books, and we don't. Okay, so then you can bring back in your scoring tool. Okay, so I'm going to score at 1/2. Okay, 1/8. Sorry, 1/2, 5/8, and then 1 3/4. Or sorry, 3/4. Now you know why you watch me and then do. I'm running out of space over here. Okay, so you can put your tape on. Okay, so you can tape your edges. And we're still going to taper them. You may even, depending on, you may even want to trim just a hair off the end if you think it is too close to your liking, to the edge. Okay, give it a burnish. Okay, and then fold and burnish. Okay, and then fold and burnish your other taped edge, if you can. I know this is a pain in the butt. Don't worry, it is for me too. Okay. And then this one, you don't necessarily have to have it a great perfect, because it's just to kind of make the book fold a little flatter. So I'm just going to give it a pinch. Okay, like so. Okay, and then you can taper your four edges. I'm glad some of you are sticking around to watch. I don't like doing lives because I have to jabber on about nothing. Okay, so then you can flip, and you want your to open up however you want it to open up. Okay, so mine, like, it is a little shorter than my book, right? So if you want it to open up this way, okay, or if you want it to open up this way, okay, that depends on which side you put, but your flap is going to go over here, okay? I want mine to open up this way, okay? So I'm going to put my flap, or my tab here on the bottom of the pocket. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over, so here's where it opens, okay? So I'm going to put it on the very bottom. So I've folded that so that only that piece, that taped edge, okay? And you're going to go right to the edge, right to the edge. See, I may have to trim off. I got to trim off a little because I didn't quite cut. Okay, so it's not very much. I didn't quite cut it the exact width. Okay, and you want to be right to the end, right to the bottom. Okay, right to the bottom. Okay, peel and stick. And again, you may have to pull back, like pull your gusset, pull that over. Okay, flatten your piece there so that it goes right to the edge. Okay, and then just move your hand down a little bit at a time so that it doesn't move. And then you're good. Okay, open that up, burnish. Okay, now we can put this in our book. Okay, so this side is gonna go in our book. So fold that down again so that you can see both of your gussets. Okay, bring in our book, and I'm gonna line this up kind of centered, right? You don't want this down because you're gonna glue, but so you will still see the black, so you won't see much pattern. Okay, and you want to go right over to the edge. Okay, center it if yours doesn't quite. Okay, if yours isn't quite tall enough, my one book, it was perfect. Okay, so I'm going to center from top to bottom, lift that up. Might be tough, but lift it up. It'll go down a lot easier though. And then do the same thing, peel and stick. Okay, open it up, give it a burnish. Okay, now we can bring in our pocket. Okay, close that up. Oh, and we'll put our pen in there too today. But I think we will call her kind of done here right away for this one, and we'll do a part 3. Okay, so that last pocket that you had, grab it, get it all taped up on your dinted side. Do you guys like the lives, or would you rather just me do a video and post a video? I know there's a delay and I stopped talking waiting for an answer. Okay, miter right through that X of the intersecting score lines. I'm not getting any answers. Can you guys hear me? I know I have been known, I lost volume during one video a while back. Can you hear me? Nobody's answering me. I hope you, oh good, okay good. So bring back in your book. Open up both flaps. And then again, you're going to center this pocket between your flaps, okay? And again, I'm going to do the Scotch tape trick. Okay, so stick down pull the bottom strip of tape. I moved a hair, but that's okay. Burnish. Grab your tape. Oh, too long. You don't want it to stick out past where your second flap is going to go down. So if it is too long, just cut off a piece. You want it to be inside where you tapered. Okay, stick that down, then give it a burnish. I had glue on my finger so it's stuck. Okay, stick that pocket down. Just a minute, Heidi, so I can concentrate on your question. Whoopsie. Do you glue the tape, the hinge on the 2-day folio to give support? Do I tape the hinge? No, not the hinge. You can. I don't, because it'll add bulk. Right, because it'll make it your hinge thicker here, like if that's what you mean. The only place on my 2-day folios that I, when I'm decorating, I'm not too sure what you mean, Heidi. The only thing I put Tyvek when I do a folio with paper, I put Tyvek on my border here, or on my spine, border, my spine, just so that when you're opening and closing all the time. But I don't use tape when I'm decorating. Oh no, I'm gonna have to decorate. See, this is why I close it. Oopsie poopsie. Easy fix. Oh well. I don't, like on hinges like this, I don't put tape. No, if that's what you're meaning. Okay, so we're gonna take out the book. Okay, and find the ribbon. So whichever ribbon that you want to use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tape on the bottom, and I'm going to tuck it in here so that the ribbon hoop loop here goes to the other side, just to the edge of my spine. Okay, so I'm going to put tape, so it's just a piece of tape here, so not very big, because we are going to use paper as well. So I'm just going to take a little strip of tape here, stick it on my ribbon, give that a burnish. And if you want to put your pen in there, you can, but I'm not going to put my pen in there. I'll just kind of use it as a guide. So I'm going to go roughly here, so that when your pen goes all the way down here, it's still up. Okay, so I'm going to peel that. And then I'm going to slowly, gently tuck it in. Oh, it's got to be a little farther in. Like I say, gently. I love these tweezers for that, because I can't hold anything. My fingers are too big. Okay, so right there. Ta-da! There. Because when we put our pattern paper is going to go to here, so that is still going to hold it down. And you still have lots of room, lots of play, so that even if you have a bigger pen, okay, so like that. So now you can find a strip if you want to use this paper, right? Because it's not big enough for anything here, right? So if you want to, and depending on what you're using, I did tuck spots here, which is, I guess we'll decorate, the rest we'll decorate in here, the next video. So we'll do, this might fit here. Oh, it will fit that there. So I'm not going to use this piece. So I'm going to put that piece here. I just have to do a little trimming. So again, I got to measure. So I'm at 5 3/4. So whatever your measurement is, you're going to cut 1/4 of an inch less. Okay. So you want it 1/4 of an inch less all the way around. Okay. I did have to cut off his eyes. So let's see if it works this way. No, I still have to cut off his eyes. So I will come up here. Not too bad, a little bit. And then I'll trim off the bottom. Well, that almost worked slick. Okay, and I got to trim. What did I say that was? That's how bad my memory is. I can't remember. 5.5. Okay. So you want to cut 1/4 of an inch off of your width. Okay, and I'm going to sponge around again. Have any of you seen my, well, I shouldn't say my, because it's not my, the double slider cards that I've been making? That is a tutorial, a video done by Tamara at Country Craft Creations, and it is probably 6 years old. I think it was May. She did it in May of 2016. Yes, I like them too. I'm gonna do up a bunch of them so I can have on hand. Okay, get that out of my way. I usually have it up there, but because I have my iPad in there so I can see when you guys are talking to me. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this down on here. I should take a drink. My throat is getting sore. I'm talking too much. It's too bad that we couldn't actually do a live where you guys all can chat too. Okay. Okay, try and get that as centered as you can. Wet glue gives you a little bit of time for moving things. Oh, I got a little carried away with the glue. I'm going to give that a burnish. Squish that glue down. I got a little carried away here, so I'm just going to push that back. Okay, ta-da. Now I'm going to go into my scraps here, see if I can find a scrap for here and here, which I don't think I have anything. Oh, I do. I have this one. Could go in there. Oh, and that one could go in there, which is that. So that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I guess we have these strips here too from our, but mine went the wrong way. One did, one didn't. Which is one narrower than the other? Oh, that one might fit better, so I'll use that one. So again, I'm going to cut this piece that is going to go here. Okay, so it will tuck into that pocket a tiny little bit. Okay, so you're going to want to cut it 1/4 of an inch less, right, than what your pocket is. And it doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't have to go all the way in. So you can end up using a scrap piece. Okay, so you can cut this one. I like that heart up at the top. Okay, so this one is cut to the same width, or the same length, sorry. Oh, I gotta stop doing that. Cut my piece. I've done that a couple of times. Okay, I'm going to sponge, okay, the short ends and one long side. And then I think we're going to call her done for today, because otherwise I'm going to not be able to talk. Here, I'll take a drink, just a minute. So I'm sponging. Do any of you sponge? And I have to say, I'm going to thank those of you, the 6 of you, that have stuck in there with me, watching the live. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I greatly appreciate it. And I love the support. Give me a thumbs up. Hopefully the last video, the first video, didn't the whole the chat playback, it didn't stay. You can't see the comments. The live chat didn't carry over, so hopefully this one does. So I'm just going to put a strip of tape. It's easier to use with a small piece like this, tucking it in. You're most very welcome, Renee. I like to I like to share. Okay, so I'm going to turn this sideways, and again, I apologize if you see my fat head. Okay, and I'm going to line that up. That, and I use tape because of the ribbon here, so that it tapes over top. Okay, and then I'm going to use my, apparently, because I can't get my thumb in there backwards, my pokey tool, and hopefully I can get in there. And not fight. I can get in there now with the tape. I always fight with the tape. The tape and I do not have an understanding. Okay, there. So this should be it should be okay here. If not, when you do yours, put a piece of window sheet or cellophane, and that'll keep your ribbon, your pen, from ripping the paper. Or you can, or let's just do that. Take a piece of tape. Try not to stick your finger on it because you'll see the fingerprint. Oh, I don't want this tape. I want clear tape. I have a lot of junk up there. No laughing. Take a piece of tape and just stick your tape over top, because your book is going to go in there. Apologies for my head. And that should keep your paper from ripping. Okay, so then we'll stick our book back in. So you guys will have to let me know when you watch this on the replay or whenever if you want to do a shaker cover. Okay, so there we have, oh, we could have gone in a lot farther with our ribbon. That's okay. So that closes just like so. And we'll the covers, and then we can decorate. So there still may be a video or two. Decorating takes longer. I hope you guys are okay with multiple videos. But that's it for today. I hope you, oh, I guess that's not it for today. We got to stick this piece in. Were any of you yelling at me? Okay, so I'm just going to use some glue here. Oh, that was close. Okay, I am edge to edge because of that, because of your spine there. You can be closer. You still have that look of the border. Okay, so just like so. And there is the inside decorated. Then we will do this, some more decorating, next Sunday. I don't think I like where that pen is. That's okay. So I hope to see some of you back next Sunday at 1 o'clock, same time. And let me know. You want to see the shaker cover? Perfect. We just might do the shaker cover. Thanks you all for watching and supporting me on my channel. I'll see you next week. Now I got to stand on my chair because I'm not tall enough.